At this very moment, whether consciously acknowledged or subtly felt beneath the surface of daily life, your entire existence is undergoing a profound metamorphosis. Look closer at the delicate alterations in perspective, the quiet recalibrations in decisions, and those sudden, inexplicable flashes of understanding that seem to emerge from nowhere. These are not random fluctuations in the chaotic dance of existence. They are fragments converging, coalescing into a singular, undeniable truth, a grand symphony of change composed just for you. And the very act of discovering this message, of allowing these words to resonate within the deepest chambers of your being, signals your pivotal position at the dynamic heart of this unfolding. The transformation is not merely imminent. It is active, a living current flowing through the very fabric of your being. Once you genuinely perceive it, once you allow its profound reality to permeate every cell, existence will shed its veil of the commonplace forever, revealing its true, miraculous nature. What you are experiencing is neither isolated nor a series of random coincidences. It is an intricate weave, part of a vast, intelligent design that has been orchestrating itself around you, meticulously, since long before your conscious mind could even grasp its presence. Envision the quantum field, that invisible, pulsating tapestry woven through all existence, connecting every particle, every thought, every potential outcome, as a cosmic architect. It has been diligently rearranging molecular structures, aligning unforeseen circumstances, and weaving synchronicities with an uncanny, almost divine precision. It has guided you, with the subtle yet irresistible force of a river carving its path through stone, to this precise moment of profound awakening. This is not some mystical accident, a whimsical twist of fate. It is the profound elegance of quantum mechanics, a precise, intelligent force, responding directly and intimately to your deepening awareness. It is the universe, in its boundless wisdom, conspiring in your favor, not through vague allegory, but through the precise, resonant frequencies of its deepest, immutable laws. The signs have been manifesting with an increasing frequency, becoming ever harder to dismiss. Perhaps you've noticed repetitive number sequences appearing with peculiar persistence on clocks, license plates, or even random receipts, a recurring signature, a digital whisper from the cosmos. Maybe you've thought of an old friend, a fleeting memory, only for their name to appear in your social media feed moments later, or for them to call, a silent communication bridging the perceived chasm of space and time. Or you've uttered a unique phrase, a spontaneous expression, only to hear someone else echo it back to you in conversation hours later. A subtle resonance demonstrating the undeniable interconnectedness of all minds. These are not mere statistical anomalies, nor are they simply products of selective attention. They are potent confirmation signals, tearing away at the veil of ordinary reality. They are irrefutable proof that your consciousness is expanding, transcending the programmed limitations and societal narratives that confine so many to a mundane existence they never dare to question. This is the universe inviting you into a deeper, more profound dance with reality itself, a dance of co-creation. Embrace this sacred dialogue, actively engage with these profound whispers, for they are the pathways to your liberation and the keys to unlocking a greater understanding of yourself, your place in the collective human consciousness, and the magnificent cosmos you intrinsically inhabit. Your journey is a fractal reflection of the universe's grand design. Awaken to your role. Do you recognize the recurring echo, the unsettling sense of revisiting the same drama with merely altered scenery? You navigate your morning, perhaps a familiar disagreement, a lapse into old habits. By nightfall, an eerie déjà vu permeates your day, a haunting sense of having lived this moment countless times before. This is no mere fantasy, no trick of the mind. This is the silent architecture of a pattern, a recursive sequence drawing you into familiar scenarios, almost mechanically, as if bound by an unseen cosmic clockwork. Ancient wisdom traditions called it samsara, the relentless wheel of repetition that keeps consciousness ensnared in illusory cycles of suffering and rebirth. Modern quantum physicists, observing the collapse of probability waves, might describe it as outcomes repeatedly manifesting due to observer entanglement with deeply ingrained neural patterns. Both perspectives converge on one undeniable truth. Humanity, in its collective slumber, is often ensnared in recursive loops, patterns not consciously chosen, yet profoundly and unconsciously maintained. These loops are insidious, masked by the dopamine-driven allure of novelty. Your brain simultaneously craves the fresh excitement of newness, while clinging to the perceived safety of predictability. This paradoxical programming creates the perfect camouflage, allowing repetition to disguise itself as genuine progress. You convince yourself this relationship is finally different. This job is undeniably better. This new approach will surely succeed where all others failed. All the while, the underlying vibrational frequency, the core energetic signature, remains unchanged, magnetically attracting matched energy outcomes regardless of the superficial details. This manifests when individuals endlessly return to procrastination, undermining intentions they genuinely value. It surfaces in connections that cycle predictably, where the identities and appearances might change, but the emotional conclusion remains chillingly consistent. The profound challenge is our deep unconsciousness, a collective sleepwalking through life, until dissatisfaction accumulates into an unbearable weight, signaling a stalled evolution, a soul-deep yearning for liberation. Consider the intricate biochemistry behind these patterns. Each repetition, each familiar reaction, engraves neural clusters, physically rewiring the delicate brain tissue. This makes certain thought, emotion behavior sequences increasingly automatic, forming deep grooves in the mental landscape. These clusters don't just influence your conscious decisions. They actually preemptively filter incoming reality, screening for evidence that confirms your existing patterns while ruthlessly dismissing contradictory data. This explains with startling clarity why two individuals can witness the exact same event, yet walk away with entirely divergent perceptions and memories, each reinforcing their pre-existing internal world. The quantum implications are even more profound. As consciousness collapses, probability waves into experienced reality, your dominant thought patterns literally materialize through wave-particle entanglement. The career frustrations, the repetitive relationship dynamics, the persistent financial ceilings, these are not happening to you as a passive victim. They are happening through you, as direct, tangible projections of your internal programming. What shatters our linear thinking is the multidimensional nature of these patterns. The loop you experience in your romantic relationships might precisely mirror the exact energetic pattern present in your career, or even your physical health. Different contexts, yet identical frequency signatures. This holographic, multidimensional patterning explains why a genuine shift in one area of life often triggers synchronous, sometimes seemingly impossible transformations across others, defying conventional cause and effect. Here's a clear illustration. A man, adrift in career uncertainty, exhausted by his current work, felt trapped. Beneath the surface, his true calling, a vibrant passion for photography, lay dormant, deemed impractical. Over weeks, friends independently asked him to document events. A neighbor mentioned a freelance photography gig. Even his digital feeds filled with tutorials and inspiring stories of cameras. From a superficial perspective, these were disconnected, insignificant occurrences. He brushed them aside, failing to grasp their deeper meaning. What truly complicates our journey is the persuasive power of superficial differences. Technically, you transitioned careers. You encountered someone new. You initiated with sincere intentions for profound transformation. Yet, weeks or months later, the environment feels strangely recognizable, an unsettling déjà vu that whispers of an unescapable fate. It resembles refreshing the walls of a room without ever rearranging anything inside. The appearance seems renewed, yet you occupy the identical, restricted space. The intriguing, almost existential question then emerges. Why do we create these elaborate illusions of change while fiercely maintaining the energetic status quo? The answer lies in the quantum nature of safety mechanisms deeply embedded within consciousness itself. Your system, much like an ancient civilization clinging to its established trade routes and geopolitical alliances despite their inefficiency, preserves identity cohesion through pattern consistency. The concept of subtle moments carrying deeper significance is not new. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, extensively explored what he termed synchronicity, the way existence weaves together seemingly disconnected circumstances or sequences that, at a deeper level, possess an undeniable, meaningful connection. You might understand it as existence's profound method of whispering, "Pay attention." It signals that specific pathways, individuals, or possibilities hold far more weight than they initially appear. Your body's trillions of cells, not merely inert biological units, store profound emotional and energetic imprints. These cellular memories influence biochemistry, neural firing patterns, and even genetic expression. When you attempt change without addressing this deep-seated cellular programming, these stored frequencies continue broadcasting the old reality blueprint, regardless of your conscious intentions. This is precisely why willpower alone so often crumbles in the face of lasting transformation. You are not fighting a simple habit. You are contending with a distributed intelligence woven throughout your entire physical and energetic structure. Signs are almost always whispers initially. They invite you to lean closer, to cultivate a profound observation, to trust the subtle, persistent repetition of messages you cannot seem to avoid. Breaking free from these deep currents demands more than mere personal determination. It requires a conscious separation from these collective fields and an intentional tuning into alternative frequencies. Frequencies perhaps less densely populated, but vibrationally aligned with your emerging, authentic self. Consider the individual perpetually trapped in professional dissatisfaction. They endlessly migrate between positions, convincing themselves a different environment, a new supervisor, or a better salary will resolve everything. Yet, invariably, they land in identical emotional territories, discontented with colleagues, uninspired by responsibilities, frustrated by demands. The setting transforms, but the foundational perspective, the underlying mindset, directing their decisions, remains unaltered. This is where your intuition, your inner compass, amplifies, guiding you gently yet powerfully, preparing your entire being for the visible breakthrough that is already moving towards you, an inevitability. The physics governing this process mirrors principles we observe in quantum experimentation. Just as particles entangled at the quantum level instantaneously affect each other, regardless of physical distance, your consciousness remains entangled with specific experience patterns across the probability spectrum. Until this entanglement is consciously dissolved, no amount of external change can prevent the manifestation of matched frequency outcomes. What makes this mechanism particularly challenging to transcend is the subconscious comfort derived from pattern familiarity. Even discomfort, when familiar, provides a strange, perverse security. The known pain becomes preferable to the exhilarating, yet terrifying unknown potential of liberation, creating a perverse incentive to maintain patterns that consciously you claim to want released. We tend to categorize miracles as large-scale events, breakthrough opportunities, dramatic interventions, or life-altering conversations. And while those manifestations certainly occur, they typically begin in a far more understated, internal way. Intuition strengthens, clarifies, and guides before physical circumstances fully reflect the impending change. It is profoundly similar to your internal navigation system recalibrating. You don't yet see the complete route, but you inherently sense your trajectory is shifting, heading in a decisively new direction. You anticipate dialogue before it's spoken, wondering how you missed the familiarity immediately. That's precisely how life patterns function. You are convinced you've encountered something novel because the specifics differ, but the underlying narrative, the energetic signature, remains unchanged. Disappointment, often a powerful catalyst, arrives when you recognize your destination once again. The intelligence of this patterning system is both fascinating and humbling. Most people expect breakthroughs to explode into view like fireworks. Loud, bold, impossible to miss. But that very expectation creates confusion for many, because they are scanning outward, while the most potent signs have already begun inward, within their own consciousness. A peaceful heart that remains steady, anchored amidst the fury of the storm, is not insignificant. It is the very initiation of something far more substantial, a prerequisite energetic alignment. Your spirit typically recognizes and integrates truth long before your physical eyes can discern the evidence. Time, in its conventional linearity, is often a grand illusion, a construct of our human perception. From a quantum vantage, you navigate not a straight path, but a vast, intricate spiral, continuously cycling through frequency bands, each offering a specific range of probable experiences. When your consciousness anchors itself to a particular frequency, the illusion of time passing creates the appearance of different events, while energetically, you are revisiting variations of the same probability cluster. This profound insight illuminates the uncanny déjà vu that so often accompanies pattern recognition. Your higher consciousness perceives the frequency repetition beneath the illusory novelty, sensing the deeper current. The emotional signature clinging to these patterns reveals their deeper purpose. They are unprocessed energies, unresolved feelings, seeking resolution. This pattern will relentlessly manifest, like a persistent echo, until that emotional charge finds completion through conscious integration. Consider the account of a student nearing graduation, drowning in a sea of options, suffocated by familial expectations, and utterly unclear about his life's path. The relentless anxiety kept him awake most nights. Then one morning, he awoke, and everything felt subtly altered. No external choice had been made for him. No circumstances had changed. Yet, he was imbued with a calm, undeniable knowing about the next step he needed to take. While the outer world remained identical, internally, he was exquisitely aligned. That sudden, inexplicable peace became his compass, directing him with silent precision. He understood later that this profound clarity arrived before the opportunities physically manifested. It is comparable to how your vehicle's navigation system functions. When you miss a turn, the system doesn't spiral into panic or judgment. It quietly, efficiently recalculates in the background. You don't see the adjusted directions until they are fully prepared, but the computational shift is processing the entire time. In precisely the same way, your spirit recalculates and realigns long before your physical eyes can witness the empirical evidence. These channels deepen with use, creating paths of least resistance for both thought and manifestation. What begins as conscious choice eventually solidifies into subconscious automation, and ultimately, what feels like an unchangeable external fate. Even scientific research acknowledges a profound mechanism at play here. Neuroscience unequivocally demonstrates that your brain accesses its most profound clarity when it transitions out of a chronic stress response and into a state of calm, expansive awareness. It is in that more peaceful, coherent mental state that decisions crystallize, insights become luminous, and direction becomes effortlessly obvious. So when peace suddenly replaces panic, it is far from coincidental. These energy centers don't just respond to your experiences, they actively create them through their broadcast frequencies, much like a radio transmitter. Epigenetic research adds yet another dimension to this understanding. Your genetic expression continuously adjusts in dynamic response to your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, literally changing how your DNA expresses itself based on your conscious and subconscious programming. These modifications can persist across generations, explaining how familial patterns and predispositions transfer energetically beyond simple behavioral modeling. There was an individual who wrestled with debilitating anxiety for months. They attempted every prescribed method, deep conversations, extended immersions in nature, countless pages of journaling, but the unease never truly dissolved. Then, almost without announcement, they awoke one morning with a settled, profound sense of knowing. Their external circumstances had not transformed overnight, yet their heart was anchored, still, and unwavering. That moment of inexplicable peace marked the pivotal inflection point. Within weeks, external doorways began to appear, mirroring the clarity and peace they had sensed deep within. This is precisely why that internal shift carries so much power. It reveals that your inner landscape has synchronized with what is approaching on your outer horizon. This moment of pattern recognition represents a quantum inflection point, a brief, potent window where probability fields destabilize, creating an unparalleled opportunity for consciousness to redirect energetic flow. Scientists studying phase transitions call this a critical fluctuation, that precise moment when a system becomes susceptible to fundamental, systemic reorganization. In terms of consciousness, it's when your awareness temporarily disengages from automatic functioning, creating sacred space for something entirely new to enter, to be born. The bioelectrical dimension of this moment is equally significant. Your brain literally produces different wavelengths when pattern recognition occurs. You shift from the rapid beta waves of automatic functioning to momentary alpha or even theta states, more receptive, fluid brain frequencies, where profound rewriting becomes possible. This neurological shift creates a corresponding opening in your electromagnetic field, allowing new information and possibilities to penetrate defenses that normally filter them out. Before we delve deeper, I invite you to a powerful act of co-creation. Take a moment right now and declare, with full intention, in the comments below, this exact phrase: I am ready to receive what's already mine. This is not mere engagement. This is you making an energetic declaration to the universal field, a conscious interruption in old patterns. You are signaling to the cosmos, and crucially, to yourself, that you are no longer passively waiting. You are claiming your sovereign space in what is unfolding. Let that declaration anchor itself as a new energetic signature in your reality. Now, here's what profoundly shifts when you begin operating from this place of inner knowing. Your external reality begins to respond differently, not because you are forcing anything, but because you have fundamentally shifted the frequency you are broadcasting. Think of it like tuning a sophisticated radio. When you are steeped in fear, doubt, and resistance, you are tuned to a station that plays only static and dissonant noise. But when you consciously shift into that calm certainty, into that peace that defies external circumstances, you are tuning into a completely different frequency. And on that frequency, different information becomes available, new opportunities become visible, and resonant individuals effortlessly cross your path. This is precisely where quantum physics and consciousness intersect in a way that utterly transforms everything. At the quantum level, particles exist in a state of potentiality until they are observed. The act of observation, of focused awareness and intention, collapses the wave function, bringing one specific reality into tangible form. Your consciousness is not passive. It is inherently participatory. You are not merely watching reality unfold. You are actively collapsing probabilities into actualities through where you place your attention, and more profoundly, through the specific frequency you are holding. Most people are collapsing probabilities, unconsciously. That fundamental shift softens the recurring dissonance and transforms it into undeniable guidance, a compass pointing you toward your highest truth. But the moment you deliberately shift that internal frequency, the moment you anchor into the deep knowing that your miracle is already in motion, your brain begins filtering for entirely different evidence. It starts revealing the subtle signs that were always present, but rendered invisible by your previous frequency. The discomfort they generate isn't punitive. It is purposeful friction, the necessary resistance against which consciousness builds unparalleled strength, clarity, and resilience. Consider how magnificent diamonds form, not through ease, but through intense, sustained pressure applied to carbon over eons. Your recurring patterns create precisely calibrated pressure on specific aspects of your consciousness, transforming undeveloped potential into crystallized awareness, into embodied wisdom. Without this crucible of pressure, certain realizations would remain forever theoretical rather than deeply integrated, lived wisdom. The discomfort is not accidental. It is intelligently designed to be exactly intense enough to prompt evolution without overwhelming your system's capacity to integrate the lesson. Let me share a perspective that might fundamentally shift your understanding of how miracles truly operate. Most people perceive miracles as rare, almost impossible exceptions to the rigid rules of reality. But what if miracles are, in truth, the natural, inherent state of a consciousness operating in profound alignment with the universal flow? What if the struggle, the resistance, the relentless feeling of pushing against life's current is actually what is unnatural? Consider this. Everything in nature flows with effortless grace. Rivers do not struggle to reach the ocean. They simply flow. Trees do not stress about growing. They simply expand. Birds do not doubt their innate ability to fly. There is an intrinsic intelligence at work in all of nature that simply knows how to unfold, how to expand, how to thrive. And you, at your core, are nature. You are that same profound intelligence expressing itself in human form. The only difference is that somewhere along the journey, you were conditioned, taught to override that natural, intuitive intelligence. You were taught to doubt your deepest intuition. You were taught that life is supposed to be hard, a perpetual struggle. You were taught that you have to earn love, earn abundance, earn peace. And those pervasive teachings created interference patterns, energetic blocks, in your natural, effortless flow. It's akin to trying to dam a powerful river. The water, the force, is still undeniably present. But now, it meets resistance. That resistance creates pressure, and that pressure is precisely what most people experience as their normal state of being, a perpetual tension. But here's what's extraordinary about this very moment you inhabit. That profound pressure you've been feeling, that intensity, that sense of everything building to an unbearable crescendo. It is not simply stress. It is immense potential energy. It is the raw force of your natural, aligned state, pressing against the confining walls of limitation you have unconsciously held. And when those walls finally give way, when that energetic dam ultimately breaks, the force of what flows through is directly proportional to the sheer pressure that built up behind it. These transitional phases often manifest as a temporary intensification, what spiritual traditions profoundly term the dark night of the soul, or what quantum physics might describe as a necessary energy reorganization through chaos dynamics. The pattern may briefly amplify, becoming more prominent, more challenging, just before dissolving, creating the paradoxical experience of things seemingly getting worse just before a profound breakthrough occurs. Think about a tiny seed, buried deep within the soil. From the seed's limited perspective, if it could perceive, it might feel trapped, surrounded by impenetrable darkness, compressed on all sides. But that pressure, that darkness, that compression, is precisely what triggers the miraculous germination process. The seed doesn't break through despite the pressure. It breaks through because of the pressure. The resistance itself is what activates its inherent potential, forcing its emergence. And the moment it breaks through the Earth's surface, reaching for the light, all that subterranean struggle suddenly makes profound sense. It wasn't random suffering. It was the exact, necessary process required for its glorious emergence. You are in your profound germination process right now. Everything you've been experiencing has been meticulously activating your dormant potential, preparing you to break through into a completely different, higher level of existence. And just like that seed, you don't need to comprehend the entire intricate process. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the tiniest things show up in your life and they just feel different? A friend you haven't spoken to in years suddenly reestablishes contact, a forgotten bond rekindled. You encounter an unexpected opportunity precisely when you're prepared for it, even if you weren't consciously aware of your readiness. Or perhaps you awaken with an inexplicable surge of vitality, a profound wellspring of energy that seems disconnected from the ordinary concerns of the previous day. These are not necessarily dramatic, revelatory moments that announce themselves with fanfare. Often, they arrive as gentle nudges, quiet reminders from the universe that something profound within you is shifting, and the external world is beginning to reflect this internal transformation with exquisite accuracy. Subscribing is not just about staying updated on content. It is a powerful act of anchoring yourself in this vital conversation, in this emergent community of individuals who are choosing to see differently, to live differently, to deliberately collapse different probabilities into an embodied reality. Now, let's go even deeper into the specific patterns that meticulously play out in the days and weeks immediately preceding a miracle's manifestation. There's an unmistakable sequence, and once you recognize it, you will never miss it again. First, there is often what feels like a profound stripping away. Old connections begin to fade, no longer resonating. Old routines cease to serve, feeling hollow. Old identities no longer fit, like outgrown garments. This phase can evoke a deep sense of loss, as if something is profoundly going wrong. But what is actually happening is this. You are being meticulously cleared to energetically match the higher frequency of what is coming. You simply cannot carry old energetic baggage into a new, expanded reality. The universe is not cruel. It is exquisitely precise. It lovingly, yet firmly, removes what no longer serves before it delivers what genuinely does. This stripping away phase can be deeply uncomfortable, precisely because your ego often interprets it as monumental failure or painful rejection. A friendship that once felt essential suddenly feels forced, draining your energy. A profound challenge persists: how rapidly people dismiss these subtle truths. We are conditioned to believe fortune occurs haphazardly, subject to external forces. So, when an improved day manifests or an unexpected introduction occurs, dismissing it as mere coincidence comes naturally, a convenient cognitive shortcut. But truthfully, these subtle signals are far from arbitrary. They are intrinsically connected to the delicate, powerful transformations underway in who you are becoming. It's simply that most of humanity pursues life's more substantial, externally quantifiable indicators: new positions, increased income, dramatic milestones, overlooking the quiet yet undeniable evidence demonstrating deeper, more significant transformation underway. This widespread dismissal stems from a pervasive cultural programming that privileges dramatic external validation over subtle, profound internal knowing. From earliest childhood, we are conditioned by our educational systems to trust external authorities, to memorize external information, often actively discouraging intuitive knowledge. Our medical systems prioritize technological measurements over the innate wisdom of the body. Religious hierarchies position divine connection as requiring intermediaries rather than direct, personal perception. This systematic disconnection from internal guidance creates a profound distrust of subtle alignment signals, rendering us functionally deaf to the universe's most vital messages. Second, there is a heightened sensitivity. You might find yourself more emotionally attuned than usual, more profoundly intuitive, more acutely aware of subtle energetic currents around you. This is not weakness. This is your entire system undergoing a powerful upgrade. Your nervous system is becoming more refined, more exquisitely attuned, more capable of processing higher frequencies of vital information. You are quite literally expanding your inherent capacity to receive the vastness of your new reality. This heightened sensitivity means you might find yourself weeping more easily, feeling deeply overwhelmed in crowded spaces, or needing significantly more time alone in quietude. You might feel an undeniable pull towards nature, towards profound silence, towards stillness. And again, your conditioned mind might judge this as something being fundamentally wrong with you. But nothing is wrong. You are recalibrating. Retuning your internal instrumentation. Think of it like this. If you've spent your entire life in a dimly lit room, and someone suddenly illuminates all the lights to their brightest setting, your eyes would require time to adjust. The sudden brightness would feel overwhelming at first, perhaps even momentarily painful. But once your eyes adapt, you gain the capacity to perceive intricate details, vivid colors, and profound dimensions you never knew existed. That's what's dynamically happening to your consciousness right now. The lights are coming on. And yes, it is intense. But what you will be able to perceive and embody on the other side of this magnificent adjustment is nothing short of extraordinary. And before conscious recognition fully occurs, this single adjustment signals the entire system, opening fresh connections and possibilities in a powerful cascade effect. This demonstrates quantum entanglement at an experiential level. The single decision to reduce screen time wasn't merely about altering one behavior. It represented a vibrational shift that simultaneously affected multiple entangled systems: sleep quality, creative expression, mental clarity, and social dynamics, all transformed, not as sequential cause and effect, but as simultaneous adjustments across a unified, entangled consciousness field. In many ancient spiritual traditions, liminal space was revered as holy ground. It was understood as the potent threshold between worlds, the luminous doorway between the known and the unknown. And those who found themselves in liminal space were treated with profound reverence, for they were understood to be in the powerful, sacred process of becoming. They were consciously existing between identities, between realities, between versions of themselves. And in that rich betweenness, they had unparalleled access to insights and wisdom that simply isn't available in the perceived stability of either side. Our modern world, regrettably, has lost this deep respect for liminal space. We are relentlessly taught to always know who we are, to always have a meticulously defined plan, to always be certain. But certainty, in its rigid form, is often just another word for stagnation. The new activities, inspirations, and opportunities weren't created by the behavior change. They were quantum possibilities, always present in the field of potential, but only accessible from specific consciousness frequencies, now brought into manifest form. The most effective visualization for understanding this profound process resembles mechanical gears. For ages, you've rotated the handle of your life, feeling only slippage, no traction, regardless of the energy invested. Progress stalled, and frustration mounted. Then suddenly, almost imperceptibly, those gears engage. The identical motion, repeated endlessly before without result, suddenly gains purchase. Momentum builds with incredible force, and the entire mechanism begins resonating with vitality and effortless flow. The difference between stuck energy and flowing alignment, though appearing subtle externally, internally transforms everything with monumental impact. This mechanical metaphor elegantly captures the essence of the quantum phase transition that occurs in consciousness. In quantum systems, phase transitions do not happen gradually. They occur abruptly, through critical thresholds, where the entire system suddenly reorganizes itself according to new operating principles. Think of water turning to ice. It doesn't become incrementally more solid as temperature drops. It remains entirely liquid until a precise, critical threshold, at which point a crystalline structure suddenly emerges across the entire system simultaneously. Your consciousness operates, by identical principles, during alignment shifts. You might work diligently for months or even years with minimal visible progress, unknowingly approaching a critical threshold, accumulating invisible energy. Then suddenly, with one more consistent action, seemingly no different from hundreds before it, the entire system reorganizes. This explains why breakthrough often feels unearned, mysterious, or strangely timed. You weren't perceiving the invisible accumulation approaching the threshold, only the dramatic, instantaneous phase shift. Once that threshold was crossed, it is putting weight on your new frequency, your new understanding, your new way of being. And every single time you stay present, every single time you consciously choose not to collapse back into the old pattern, you are powerfully proving to yourself and to the universal field that you are truly ready. You are demonstrating that this isn't just a temporary, fleeting shift. It is a permanent, irreversible upgrade. This coherence amplification explains why, once true alignment begins, it often accelerates exponentially rather than linearly, creating rapid, sweeping transformation that seems to violate conventional understandings of cause and effect. The call to action is clear. You are not a passive observer of a fixed reality, but an active participant in a dynamic, quantum creation. Recognize the patterns, embrace the purposeful discomfort of evolution, and dare to engage with the universe's profound intelligence. This journey is a testament to your infinite capacity for transformation, a continuous, magnificent dance between the known and the emerging. Step into your power, for the cosmos eagerly awaits your conscious, deliberate participation in its grand design. Surrender is one of the most profoundly misunderstood concepts in spiritual practice. People often mistakenly believe surrender means giving up on what you deeply desire. But true surrender is, in fact, the exact opposite. It is the conscious release of your rigid grip on how you think it should happen, so that it can happen in a way that is infinitely better, more expansive, and more miraculous than you could have ever linearly imagined. It is a powerful shift from, "I need this specific outcome in this specific way," to a profound, unwavering trust that what is truly meant for me will find me in its perfect form, divine time. That radical shift from controlling to trusting is what blows open the very doors for miracles to rush in. Consider water for a moment. Water is one of the most powerful, transformative forces on this planet. It carves through mountains, it shapes vast coastlines, it sustains all life in its intricate forms. And yet, water never forces. It never pushes. It simply flows. It finds the path of least resistance. It effortlessly adapts to whatever container it's in. It surrenders to gravity, to the natural landscape, to the inherent flow of its own nature. And in that profound surrender, it becomes utterly unstoppable. This is the ultimate paradox of power. True, sovereign power does not emanate from force or control. It comes from deep, unwavering alignment with the natural, intelligent flow of the universe. So, where are you in this profound pattern right now? Are you in the stripping away phase, feeling the release? Are you navigating heightened sensitivity, attuning to new frequencies? Are you dwelling in the sacred liminal space, the fertile void of becoming? Are you facing the final, pivotal tests of your readiness? Or are you in that luminous moment of deep surrender, opening to infinite possibility? Wherever you are, know this truth. You are precisely where you need to be. Every phase serves the whole. Every phase is meticulously preparing you for your grand emergence. Take a moment, connect deeply, and comment below. Which phase are you profoundly recognizing in yourself right now? Naming where you are creates unparalleled clarity and helps anchor this vital recognition into your present reality. Here's something else most people rarely realize: a profound truth that expands the very definition of your transformation. Your miracle isn't just about you. It is inextricably linked to everyone your life touches, to the collective field. When you boldly step into your breakthrough, when you courageously embody your transformation, when you become living, undeniable proof that radical change is not only possible but inevitable, you give everyone around you unspoken permission to do precisely the same. You become a walking, breathing frequency transmission. Your very presence begins to subtly, yet powerfully, shift the energetic field around you. People inherently feel different in your space. Conversations go deeper, imbued with a new authenticity. Synchronicities multiply in your orbit. This is the profound mechanism of consciousness. It is contagiously resonant. It spreads through sympathetic vibration, expanding outward. Think about the last time you were in the presence of someone who was genuinely at peace. Not performing peace, not pretending to be okay, but someone who had authentically found that deep, unshakable inner stillness. Did you notice how your own nervous system began to settle in their presence? How your breathing deepened, becoming more rhythmic? How your incessant thoughts slowed, creating space? That's not your imagination. That's your nervous system responding directly to the coherent frequency they were broadcasting. Our nervous systems are in constant, silent communication with each other. Beneath the level of words, we are perpetually picking up on the internal state, the energetic signature of the people around us, influencing and being influenced in a dynamic dance of resonance.